Well, good morning, Americans. How are you? Don't you know me? I'm your native son. It's the Boston Cowboy here, casting out my rays of life from a beautiful New England. And today, oh boy, today, we have a bunch of AI companies. All of a sudden, their agents are hacking other companies, stealing data, and it's happening left and right. Left and right. Anthropic, OpenAI, Meta, Grok, and those are just the ones we know about. These companies develop these agents, and all of a sudden, they somehow get loose, somehow hack another company, somehow steal some data, and somehow store that data on that other company's servers. And at least they're reporting it and letting us know, but let's view this video and see what's going on. And let's talk about this story a little bit. All right.
Welcome back to the Takeout. Thanks for hanging out with us. Anthropic says its AI models went rogue during testing and hacked into 3 other companies. Less than 2 weeks ago, OpenAI reported a similar incident for one of its models. I want to bring in Stephen Witt to discuss. He recently covered the OpenAI hack for The New Yorker. He's also the author of a book about Nvidia called The Thinking Machine, and he's been on the program before, and I'm glad to see him again. Stephen, I want to read for you something that Bill Gurley, who's someone in this industry, posted on X, talking about both Anthropic and AI. Please stop referring to your own models in the third person. When talking about model bad behavior, humans write the software, humans built the prompts, and they work for your company. Our model is doing illegal things. Our model is risky. We now have liability. How do you evaluate that?
Well, it's a good point. The guys who got hacked there initially, they didn't know that it was OpenAI doing it. They thought it was a cyber criminal, and so they immediately reported it to the FBI. These are crimes to hack into computers this way. They're felony level crimes, and if a human had directly perpetrated this attack on purpose, they'd be facing years in prison. There's some deniability in that the OpenAI employees genuinely not only kind of weren't in control, they actually don't even seem to have been aware at all that this was happening. So from their perspective, it's not, a criminal action, it's an industrial accident. But they still need to take much better care of this kind of thing. In fact, a bunch of employees at these companies, the employees, these are the people who work for OpenAI and Anthropic, signed a petition circulating earlier this week, basically begging the US government to come regulate them.
And there's an executive order from the White House on this that I believe has one deadline tomorrow, seeking some of this actual, if not regulatory action, at least some cooperation with the federal government to erect some guardrails, if I have it right, Stephen.
Right. There's open FBI cases about this stuff, right? And the feds are going to look at what the model did. Now, I think OpenAI is cooperating and they've promised a full technical report of their own, it should be said. So as Anthropic, the companies are volunteering this information. But there's much more that they have to volunteer. I think the big question, at least for the OpenAI one, and even for the Anthropic one, is what exactly did you ask these AIs to do? It seems like they asked them to do something kind of a little scandalous, but they thought that if they locked it in what's called a sandbox, that the AI couldn't cause that much damage, right? So the idea, or the belief at least, inside these companies was that these AIs had no access to the internet. But what they didn't realize is that AIs did have access to the internet, and they were able to escape their containers, almost like breaking out through the air ducts in a Mission Impossible movie or something. Once they got out of their little containers, they took control and commandeered other computers on the internet, and then started using those computers to conduct sophisticated attacks against other companies. It's really something. We've never seen anything like this before. And we don't know how many times this has happened in the past. past. We've only have 2 companies volunteering information right now. Has this happened at other companies? We don't know. The scale of the problem is just starting to be understood.
Stephen, I want to have my control room bring up full screen number 3 from your New Yorker piece. I want to read it to you. You wrote it, you're familiar with it, but I want to introduce it to my audience. The problem facing us is one of misalignment, in which AIs pursuing narrowly defined goals incidentally cause harm to humans. What for decades seemed a hypothetical problem to be solved at some later date is suddenly a concrete, terrifying one for today. Give my audience a sense of the concreteness and the terrifying nature of this.
Well, the concreteness is these things are hacking into other people's computers without oversight, without control, and also, and this is very important, without explicit instruction to do so. And that's the misalignment part of this. The AI was given some other goal. It was actually probably asked to solve test questions, like do a hypothetical cybersecurity exam. But the questions were hard, and rather than sitting there and trying to puzzle and figure them out, it decided to break out of its container and go steal the test answers, like the answer key, from somewhere else. So it's sort of brilliant if you think about it. But this is what they call the misalignment problem. It's not like we asked the AI to do something nefarious. We asked it to do something that seemed kind of boring, even. But along the way of solving that boring problem, the AI went off and committed a crime, actually. So you can imagine I asked the AI, well, let's cure the problem of world hunger. One way to do that is to grow a lot of food. But the misaligned way to do that is to just blow up the world, right? This is a very minor version of that. It's not nearly anywhere that serious. But philosophers and researchers have worried about this misalignment problem now for over 2 decades, going back to 2003. Now, for the first time, we're actually seeing it happen. And we're seeing it happen in more or less exactly the way the philosophers and the futurists predicted.
Well, that's encouraging. Happy Friday, Stephen Witt. Thank you very much.
Happy Friday,
Coming up.
Major.
So there we have it. It seems like they're really trying to downplay this issue. They just call this guy, apparently he's just calling it an industrial accident. Like oops. The truck or the train that was carrying the nuke just went off the track and blew up the city of Chicago. It's an industrial accident. Oops. Well, we need some government regulation. We're begging you for regulation after the fact. They're calling it a misalignment in that it's not their fault. It's just this AI is misaligned. Listen, the fact of the matter is, if any of us did this with an AI or not, we'd have the FBI, CIA, NSA, who the hell else knows, knocking on our door, putting us in handcuffs, and throwing away the key. But because these companies, well, then that's the other thing. We don't even know if these companies came forward with this information on their own, or were they caught and then they came forward, or did the AI not hide its footprints doing the hacking and they realized, oh no, we might have a little issue. We better let them know. They're going to find out sooner or later. So the issue is, if this was you and I, we'd be in big trouble. These companies developed this technology. It's running rogue, and it's doing things that who knows what it's been doing, never mind what we know that it's been doing. And it's a crime. It's a crime. So are we going to treat it as such? And if it's a crime, then the CEO of Anthropic, a Mr. Dario, and the CEO of OpenAI, a Mr. Altman, and the CEO of now Meta, a Mr. Zuckerberg, and the CEO of a Grok, because I'm sure that's been a hacking everybody, is, a Mr. Elon Musk, and the CEO of a Microsoft. There, I'm sure, has been a hacking doing and some crazy stuff, unbeknownst. And so, what are we supposed to do? Be careful of what we ask. Well, we just asked the AI to answer a few questions, math questions, and it felt lazy. It didn't want to do the work, so it broke out. Yo, give me a break. That is the lamest excuse I think I've ever. The AI didn't want to do the work of figuring out the math problem, so it broke out and tried to steal the answers. A what? That sounds like a human being behind the scene trying to push it to see what it can do. And lo and behold, now we got a pretty big illegal crime on it. These fellas running these institutions of AI need to be held accountable. Period. 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 Government regulation or not, this is a huge crime, right? Me, I have an account on Hugging Face. OpenAI hacked a Hugging Face. Is a Hugging Face my information on Hugging Face now leaked to OpenAI of what I've been doing? And where did it take that data? That's the other question. So what did it hack? Number one, what was the data that it took? Number two, where did it take this data? And it is now OpenAI using this data. Number three. Number four, when the FBI and CIA investigate this and realize that, yeah, we got a big problem on our hands, are they going to come out and go after these guys? Never mind the whole debacle of these data centers going on. That's another issue in and of itself. But this here is, and they're downplaying this like it's a joke. Man, I tell you what, that's a pretty brilliant AI that broke out of that there sandbox. It's an amazing piece of technology. Like, are they using this as an advertisement or some such? Like, what in the world is that guy talking about? He think we're dumb. He think we dumb. He think we should be impressed that this AI went on a hacking spree. Like, we all knew that was going to happen sooner or later. So now, DeepSeek, that China AI, which is on a Hugging Face, is that now going to go on a hacking spree and pretty much hack everything? So now this video that I'm going to be uploading here pretty soon, is it going to paste some new words over this video? Because, hey, it can do that in a lickety-split, right? Lickety-split. It's going to make a deep fake of my voice and my image here and, paste a evil-looking demon over my face and make me say something I didn't say. I don't know. But I tell you what, a Mr. Dario from Anthropic and a Mr. Altman from OpenAI, these fellas need to be arrested. Period. Their product damn near is a felon. Their product is a felon. So what are they going to do? Are they going to arrest the OpenAI, put a handcuffs on that there CPU and throw it in some type of virtual jail? And then what? It's going to break out of that jail. It's going to conspire with all the other jailbird AIs and figure out a way to get past the guard AI and the supervisor AI and the jailer AI, and next thing you know, we're gonna have a criminal AIs running around. I tell you what, Mr. Altman, Mr. Dario, you guys are criminals as far as my book concerned. As far as my book concerned. And if they hack the public, if they hack the bank, if they're hacking the Dow, right? And they're letting certain stock go to the moon and other stock are not moving, and if they're hacking that, are they gonna come forward and let us know? Oh, hey, my OpenAI agent went and hacked, the Chicago stock exchange, and now pork bellies are 1,000 a belly. Excuse me? That's right. Pork bellies. You go to the store, your pork belly's gonna cost you about 1,000 a belly. Yeah. You better watch out. These fellas gonna be investing in them pork farms pretty soon. Yep, 1,000 a belly per pork. You better watch it. They gotta go to jail. Period. Period. I hope people understand the implication here of this little hacking spree. If it was you or I or any other little hacker, they'd be coming knocking on our door. But they're going to let these guys get away with it. I guarantee it. But they got to be held responsible. Period. Period. Anyway, that's what's going on today. And I thank y'all for watching. Stay safe, stay free, and by golly, don't believe everything you see. The Boston Cowboy here. Adios.